Hey guys, it's Tanika and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I have got a few products here to show you, and these products are ones that I am going to be decluttering from my makeup collection. Before we get into the video, I just want a little bit of feedback from you guys. I got a comment recently about my background, and I know it is like so boring, it's literally just a white wall. But the comment said that I kind of blended into the background, which I can understand. Like, I'm super white, the wall is white, not much of a contrast. But if you have any ideas or suggestions as to what I should put in my background, then leave me a comment down below because I'm really trying to figure this out. I'm also going to be messing around with my lighting a bit in the next couple of videos. Usually I just use my two soft boxes and the lighting from the room, but today I've also opened up the blind, so I'm letting in a little bit of natural light, and I have turned down the brightness on my camera. So let me know if you like this. I want to be as real as possible, and I want you to see what the makeup actually looks like on my skin, and you know, not just totally washed out by the lights and this airbrushed finish, which it isn't always like that. So yeah, before I continue rambling, leave me a comment down below with your feedback on lighting, background, things like that, because I'd love to know and use it constructively to improve. Alright, if you want to see what products I am decluttering from my makeup collection, then give this video a thumbs up and let's get into it. First up, I have a few eyeshadow palettes I'm getting rid of. And the first one is the Kat Von D Shade and Light eyeshadow palette. Now when I brought this, I was like, this is going to be such a great everyday neutral palette. I'm going to get so much use out of it, but I just don't reach for it. When I take a closer look at it, the reason I think I don't like it is because it has a lot of cool tones. And because I wanted this palette for an everyday basis, cool tones aren't what I reach for every day. So I do really like this shade up here and these two down here. They are nice and warm and I can work with them a lot. But the rest of them I just don't reach for, and to be honest, I didn't really like the formula that much as well. I don't know if it was just me and my shitty blending, but I could never get the colors to blend nicely into each other. They always went a little bit patchy, so yeah. I'm going to be getting rid of this one, unfortunately. The next eyeshadow palette I'm getting rid of, and I'm sure most people got rid of this palette to be honest, is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. Now, I was hanging on to this thinking, I'll dip into it one day, I'll make it work, I'll figure it out, I'll have a play with it. But you know what? I never did. And recently I picked up a eyeshadow palette from Makeup Revolution that was only $9 and is pretty much a dupe of this palette, and the shadows in the Makeup Revolution palette perform so well. I'll just show you what these two palettes look like side by side. As you've probably heard me say before, I was really excited for the release of the Subculture palette because it has so many different shades in it. It was a palette that we haven't really seen before, especially at the time it was just like warm, warm, warm. And you know, I'm all about those warm shades, but when I saw this, I was like, ooh, that looks nice. So the fact that I can get a $9 dupe and it performs better, I'm sorry that you're leaving me. The last two eyeshadow palettes I have are both by Chi Chi. Now I'm pretty sure Chi Chi is an Australian brand and you can pick up their stuff from Target, and it is reasonably priced. So when I was first getting into makeup, I did purchase a lot of Chi Chi items, including a ton of their eyeshadow palettes. So these glamorous eyeshadow palettes come just in this pretty plain plastic packaging, and then it's got the name of the palette written across the front here. So I'm getting rid of taupes and smokies. I'll give you a little close-up of what they look like. So as you can see, both of these palettes do contain a lot of cool tone shades, and as I said, it's just not something that I reach for all the time. I was contemplating keeping this palette for these two blues here. I was like, ooh, they're nice, but you know, these shadows aren't the best, so I don't see the point in keeping them in my collection if I'm only going to use it like maybe even hardly ever, you know? And then with this Smokies palette, I just feel as though I do not need such a range of black and greys. I've got a few good blacks in my collection, one of them being by Makeup Geek, and black isn't really a color I reach for all the time, but if I'm going to reach for it, I'm going to use my good Makeup Geek one. I do still have two other palettes from Chi Chi that I'm going to keep. The first one is the Spices palette, and then the Nudes palette. I don't reach for them all the time, but I'm kind of keeping them in case I do like a drugstore look or an Australian drugstore look, you know. I feel like these two palettes I would reach for over the Smokies and the taupes. Next, I have two foundations I'm getting rid of, and the first one is by Rimmel. This is the Lasting Finish 25-Hour Foundation with Comfort Serum. So this one here is super old. I think it would have to be one of the very first foundations I started using and absolutely loved at the time, because it was one of the only kind of fair foundations I could find, and it has super full coverage. But now that I've gotten a bit more into makeup and have learned a thing or two, the undertone of this is just totally wrong for me. It is way too pink. And even though it has a really full coverage, it is really heavy on the skin and goes cakey really easily. Rimmel recently released their Lasting Finish Breathable Foundation, and I prefer this formula much more than this one. I absolutely love Rimmel. They are one of my favorite drugstore brands, but I think I have just outgrown this foundation and I just don't reach for it anymore, so yeah. And then the next foundation I am decluttering from my collection, I'm actually quite sad about, and that is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Foundation in the shade 110N Angel Food. First of all, this foundation is a little bit hit and miss for me. I think if I use the right primer, it works really well. Otherwise, it can settle into my fine lines and pores really bad. So I found if I were going for this foundation, I needed to make sure my skin was nice and hydrated, and then using a pore filling primer or even something like the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer really helped. But the main reason I'm getting rid of this, it's a bit of a story, okay? Over the last year, I have been breaking out in hives and I don't know why. They just come on randomly. I'll be at work, oh, hive attack, at a friend's house, hive attack. So after sussing out a few little bits and pieces that I think, oh, it might be this, it might be this, one of the possibilities is fragrance. And if you have this foundation or have ever smelt this foundation, holy shit, is this fragranced. Like, it kind of gives me an instant headache. It is so heavily fragranced. So I thought everything was fine and dandy. I used this foundation one day, it was looking good, and then a couple of hours later, I broke out in the worst hive attack I have ever had in my life. Now, I don't know if it was because of this foundation, because like I said, I don't even know what's causing it, but I've written down, I wore this foundation and I got hives, so this is on my caution list, and I don't really want to test it out again because getting hives isn't fun. So even though I love that it has a really great full coverage formula and the color match is also really great, it is just a little bit risky for me and I don't think I'm going to be using it again. And then the last thing I am decluttering from my collection are a bunch of lipsticks, and it kind of really hurts me to say this, but they are the Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipsticks. It hurts me to say this because do you ever does makeup ever become a little bit sentimental to you? So when I first got into makeup, I really wanted these, and they were like $20 US, and then shipping to Australia was quite expensive as well. And Clinton ended up buying them for me for my birthday, and I was just like, so excited. I absolutely love the colors that I have. I think they are so beautiful, but this formula dries my lips out like something else. It could be the fact that they just are quite old now and the formula's gone a bit sketchy, but it really didn't take that long for me not to like them. Like at first, you know, the first couple of months they were good, and then after that it was like, what is on my lips? I just find that they dry really easily and they crack and break up, and then if you try and reapply, it's just a thick, cakey, clumpy disaster. Like I said, I am really sad about this because like they're kind of sentimental and I really love all the shades I have, but I just don't wear them because the thought of putting them on makes me feel a little ill. Alright, that's a bit dramatic, but I just don't like it. Alright, well that is everything I'm going to talk about today. I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you did, then please give this video a thumbs up. Also, let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with anything that I said about these products today. If you're interested in this makeup look, stay tuned. I am going to be doing a 3 looks 1 palette using the new ColourPop X Makeup Shayla Perception palette. Well, again, I hope you enjoyed watching. Subscribe to my channel if you aren't already, and I will also leave my Instagram link down below if you want to come follow me over there. I hope you're all having a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!